Good morning, lovely spirits. It's your main man Solace, the humble servant of the life. Today I want to do this video called What is Khem? Now, we believe that Khem is the land of Egypt, and this is what the ancients would have called Egypt. They would have called it Khem. Now, if you look up Khem by definition, it means black land, black earth, or something black. Now, the reason it has the definition black earth is because every year the Nile rises and you get the black soot that covers the land. This brings forth vegetation. So this is where you get the black earth definition. Black land comes from where Egypt is located. In a hot climate, the people would have had black skin or dark skin. So this is where the definitions come from. But this is not correct. But it's because of the perspective that those who are deciphering these things are looking from. They're not looking from the perspective of what the people knew and how they lived. Now, we must understand, Khem does not mean black land or black earth. What it means is black magic or dark knowledge. This is what Khem means, but not in a negative perspective. Black magic or dark knowledge in a sense of hidden knowledge. The normal person or common man wouldn't have this knowledge, so it wasn't common knowledge. Like picking an apple and eating that, that's common. Apple pie isn't common knowledge. So that's just an example. So we have to grasp. Khem meant black magic or dark knowledge. Now, what is Khem? Khem is chemistry. Khem, chemistry. It is the same thing. The only difference is the perspective. Those in the past had an understanding of the life in the mighty all, in all the living things within the life. We don't have that perspective because we too deep into the technology, which is the imitation of the life. So we understand technology but not life. So when we're deciphering things, we're deciphering them in that perspective. So you have to understand, when you hear the word chemist, this is basically just saying chemist. So we have a chemist today. They would have had a chemist in the past. And Kemetic science would have just been the science of chemistry. Now, what is chemistry? Because this is where the problem lies. In today's times, we just see chemistry as a part of science. Nothing special. Mind you, without chemistry, you pretty much wouldn't have the abundance in life that you have. It's a deep thing. Now, by definition, chemistry is basically having knowledge of the substances that brings forth physical matter, and the mixing and mingling of these substances and the effects that they can have on the living. So this is what chemistry is defined as. Now, I know most of y'all I don't really grasp that. So basically what it's saying is, chemistry is the mixing and mingling of different properties. The invisible substances, like one hydrogen atom and two oxygen atoms, bring you water. So this would be chemistry. Rubbing two sticks together, you can get fire. So understanding the invisible properties and how they become physical, and the mixing and mingling of those things to bring about different effects. This is what chemistry is. And this is how we get the abundance of things we have. So you figure a rice plant. This is an example. A rice plant is produced by the life. Men can eat rice now. But through chemistry, men will make rice pudding, mixing the rice with other things. Men will mix the rice with breads, with barley, wheat, seeds, and other things, and make breads and all types of things. So from one thing and the knowledge of it, you can mix it with other things and bring about something completely different. So this is what chemistry would be. But it would be basically dealing with mostly the substances. So you have a coca plant, which brings forth cocaine powder. Now you can mix that cocaine powder with the opium plant and have a whole different effect, whole different substance now. You can mix Nacolite, which is a chemical salt, which is what baking powder is. You can mix that with the coca and have a whole different drug and a different effect. So this is what chemistry is. This is what comedic science in the past would have been. So you have to understand, chemistry is what voodoo is. Knowledge of the root. This is what the people were into. So you figure voodoo is nothing more than just chemistry of the past. And it's a deep thing. But in having that knowledge, this is how voodoo becomes looked at as bad. Voodoo becomes its own thing and chemistry becomes its own thing in today times. But in the past, they was one and the same. Voodoo priestess, sorcerer, same thing. He who had knowledge of the substances. Basically a chemist. Sorcerer, a chemist, a voodoo priestess. These are all just chemists. So it's a deep thing we got to grasp. Now, how did this all begin to be viewed in a negative light? Meaning voodoo. Basically, if you heal a man through drugs, you're great. Now, if that man becomes dependent on that drug, people will begin to look at him and say, what the fuck did the chemist do to him? He looks like a zombie. This is how it becomes viewed negatives, the duality of a thing. So they administer people drugs and different hallucinogens so they can tap into the ancestors. When the man never taps back out and he becomes tweaked out in what we would call today times smoke bad shit, people view the voodoo priestess or the chemist as, what did you do to him? This is how it becomes bad. It's a deep thing. You figure when you're dealing with the substances and you're mixing and mingling in them and you're trying to bring about new substances and just learning, what does this do when you mix it with this? Those effects that you bring into the life, they affect the life. This will affect people views on you and what it is that you do. So now if a chemist is putting together different substances and then he brings about AIDS, and this destroys a man's immune system, that would have been labeled as a curse. He's learned the recipe of a certain curse. Now when this is afflicted upon men for that purpose, this is how voodoo and things begin to be looked at as bad. It's the same with crack. You got people in the past strung out on crack for whatever reason they was given it. People look at them as zombies. This is where you get zombies and things from crackheads. Crackheads of the past is zombies. Today we have crackheads and we have zombies. Two different things. Mind you, we still call crackheads zombies. So the knowledge isn't lost. The connection just isn't happening. And it's a deep thing that we must grasp. There's nothing new. What they had in the past is the same things we have now. The perspective is different. We look at it from a child's perspective. They looked at things from a more adult-minded view. Understanding if a man tweaked out on drugs, this had to do with the life. So they understood if a man smoked drugs and he started to see things and hallucinate, this was what the drugs did. This is the purpose of the drug. If the life produced a drug to make you hallucinate, then it must be something that the life wanted you to see. We don't look at it that way. We just look at it, oh, he's crazy. He lost his mind. Mind you, how did he lose his mind? The drug he took. What was the purpose of the drug? The drug is a hallucinogen. So if you take a drug that the life produced and you hallucinate, a person with a half a brain would know. The life wants me to see this. If you eat food and you get full, the life folds you up. The life produced the same medicinal plants and hallucinogens. So if you take something that is of the life, whatever effect it has on you, it's real. So you have to grasp. A man under the influence or the spell, whatever he sees I don't see because I'm not under the influence of the spell. It's a deep thing. But we must understand, chem is chemistry. Now, that's not to take away from chem. It is only to show you how lost we are now. So when I say chem is chemistry, a lot of people don't have knowledge on chemistry. So it makes it look like as if I'm taking away from chem and I'm simplifying their knowledge, and I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is we completely lost to where today we see chemistry is nothing. It's just science. Mind you, this shit is deep. It's a very deep thing. Without chemistry, you wouldn't have a lot of things. So we just have to understand. We walk around in ignorance. Therefore, when scientists are deciphering the ancient book of spells, they're not looking at it as literal spells. And even if they are, when they take it to a lab and they bring forth these spells, they don't call it that anymore. They name it AIDS and crack and this and that, separating it from the past. But all these things came from the deciphering of ancient Kemetic spells and things. But they don't never say that. They tell you they decoded and decipher these things, but then when you get crack and AIDS and things upon the life, they don't never say, oh yeah, you know, those were some of the recipes from that. But we didn't know. So now you just say, oh yeah, we got AIDS and it came from monkeys. Yeah, but how did the monkey get it? And we know what scientists test on. Monkeys and rats. So you have to grasp what I'm telling y'all. We so lost in ignorance that we're walking around doing voodoo spells and ancient curses of the past. You have men walking around with curses, AIDS, passing it on to other people. You have people walking around casually smoking spells because we don't understand that we're dealing with spells and curses of the past. This is how bad the times is. That the knowledge that's being received has no true merit, no true understandings. Take heed to the thing Solid says, man. I am the spirit of the old. And I know y'all don't know what that means. But eventually y'all will grasp. It's your main man Solace.